Hi, I'm Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Healing Path, and this video is for my Massage 101 students, but it's available for all my clients to see. We're going to go over changing the room after a client. Now, this is one of the reasons I like to take my time in between clients, and I do not even like just 15 minutes is not enough for me. So when you come back into the room, the client is gone, you're going to see something like this. By the way, I like to say I think it's adorable when my clients decide to make the bed. You can tell that they put the bed back. And like I don't have to change it anyway. But I think it's cute. It's fun. Just like I pay attention to who folds their clothes and puts them on the chair and who just throws them on there. Not as a judgment, just as like, that's interesting. Anyway, back on topic. So you're here, right? You're here. You have a dirty table. What's our next step? For one thing, I'm going to say that I like to always think, what ways can I do things better? So this is a tray that I put all my dirty things on. So if I have a cup, I didn't have a cup, but let's say I did, there'd be a cup on here. The hot stones that I used around here, I never put them back in the water. If you put them back in the water, the entire roaster is going to need to be cleaned. And I don't want to do that. So I take out a rock, it goes on here, it never goes back into the water until after it's been cleaned and disinfected. But I will go over more of hot stone stuff in a later video. So one thing I have, this pan. And it just makes it easier to transfer it to, and the tray's dirty too, so the tray's going to go in here. I can have more of the, these are trays from the dollar store, by the way. So the tray can just go in there. Don't let it sit in water though, because it does rust easily. So the tray is going to go in this bin, and all this stuff is going to go to the sink, get washed before it gets disinfected. So I have some cups in here, and I have my stones, and these are going to go aside. Now, I generally have enough stones and cups to make it throughout the entire day before that needs to be washed. Keeping in mind, I really only average 3 clients a day. So that doesn't have to be done in between every client, unless, like, for example, I need one of those cups for the next client, then I might wash them right away. Otherwise, it's kind of thing that gets done at the end of the day, which is nice. Again, I'm going to wash everything with soapy water, and then this is my disinfectant. I use BioSurf. It's a hard surface disinfectant. It's non-toxic to the environment and to people, and that is important to me. And it only takes 1 minute. So after they get washed, I'm going to saturate them with this spray. I'm just going to spray them. Now, if any of my stones or cups have gotten in contact with blood or fluid, then I'm going to want to go a step farther, and I'm actually going to let them soak. And that hardly ever happens, so I don't have a soaking mixture, but I just have a jar. I think it's a Barbicide jar. I would have to use something bigger if it was one of my larger cups, but then I could just soak them in there, and I would let them soak for 15 minutes. They don't need to take that long, but again, I'm going to wash them before I do that, but I'm going to actually soak them so they're completely submerged in that. So that it only really happens maybe once a year. If it is going to happen, it's someone like, for example, may have back acne, and one may rupture while you're massaging. That's very possible. So I use a disinfectant. Again, it's called BioSurf from Microlium. I get it from Pure Life Dental. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is gloves. I've got gloves in my room. I'm just going to keep this out because I've touched it now and contaminated it. So some people suggest wearing gloves when cleaning the sheets. You don't need to do that. And just wash your hands. So all of this stuff has clients maybe sweat on it, blah, blah, blah. And you just spent an hour touching them. That's the reason the gloves are really not important. The only time I use gloves, anytime you as a massage therapist will need gloves, is if, again, there is an open cut or something. It's more likely with something like back acne, because if they have a cut that's contraindicated, we don't want to massage that area anyway. We will ask them to bandage it before they come in if they just had surgery, stuff like that. So generally, there's no good reason to use gloves in a session if you're not working with someone in maybe a hospital situation where there's blood. You're just going to wash your hands before session and after session. And also when you take off your gloves, kind of stick in, inside out. This goes in the trash. But like I said, generally that's not even required. So how I change the table is I turn it inside out, which means I'm touching the side that the client was not laying on. I have my towel here, so everything's going in one big giant thing like this, okay? So this is going to go to the laundry. I usually have a basket. I'm just put it right there for now. And then the table is, you have to reset up the table. So that's the kind of the steps I take. So before we reset up the table, and my disinfectant now, after the post-coronavirus, is a little bit more strict than I was. Face vest. It's usually, if I finish face up, it's on the floor. So I'm going to put the face rest back in, and I'm not going to forget to change this one. I saw a video where someone put a pillowcase here so that the client breathes. They don't have to wear a mask. They're not going to be contaminating your face rest. I just think it's more important to disinfect it. So I take my disinfectant and I'm spraying everywhere that the client can get to. And I'm also spraying on top of this. So you may notice I have a heating pad. On top of this heating pad, you can actually buy something that goes over the table, or this is just a tablecloth cover. You can get them at the dollar store, you can get them at fabric stores, because over time they do rip. I like the thinnest one possible so the client doesn't hear noises, like you never sleep on a kid's bed who's still bedwetting. You want to try to avoid that. But the reason we're doing that is because this has to be covered in case a client sweats. So normally you would clean off the table between each client, but if you have a heating pad, you need to make sure you put a cover on it. And again, I don't know, this did not need saying, do not stack your sheets. So there are some places that stack sheets. Stacking sheets means they put the sheets on for the entire day, so they just take off one layer and the new layer is there. It's to save time for businesses who are not allowing therapists enough time in between sessions. I have my bottle that I used to massage with, and I don't use all of them every time. I have multiple bottles. I'll disinfect that. Let's say I use this one. I've got 4 over here, 4 different ones. Some have essential oils in them. And I'm going to put this away, and I usually just take a rag. This has to sit for about 1 minute before it can get wiped down. I'm sure I've been talking for 1 minute, and I kind of wipe it down. Again, I actually do the seat that I keep underneath my face rest because clients can drool on it. And then we're just going to wipe down here, right? And then those are available. I have another tray here because I have stacked the trays so that I have for my next client, and I only take 4 clients a day. I don't need more than 4 trays. So just something to think about. If you want to use, sometimes this rag's still wet. I might use it to wipe down the chair. You can disinfect the handles that they touched. You may want to consider disinfecting the handles to the outside of the business. I have railings that go down to my stairs. Now, this isn't something that I normally do. I've kind of upped what I do because of everything that's going on. I'm still a little wet. But it is something to think about because even with the cold and flu season, we want to protect our clients. So keep in mind, when you touch your client, anything you touch is now potentially dirty and should be cleaned, which is why I really limit what I'm going to touch during that time. You don't have to go crazy. Just do the best you can. Constantly be thinking, in what way can I do a better job? In what way can I protect my clients more? Okay, so that is how I clean up a room after a client, and I'm going to do another video where we talk about setting up the room for clients. Okay, so I will see you in that video, or maybe you watch that video first. But this is basically how I clean and disinfect after every client. It generally only takes me about 5 minutes to take away, 5 minutes to set up, including disinfecting. So disinfecting does not have to be a process that takes a really long time, but I do highly recommend that you have 30 minutes in between each client, so you have enough time to thoroughly clean your room in between clients, to have a very good consultation, not make the client feel rushed. I highly recommend 30 minutes in between each client. Now, there are a lot of things that have come up because of coronavirus that we have to consider. For example, someone said, like, I'm considering changing my shirt after every client, which is no big deal. I have an undershirt on generally. I can just change my top shirt and put it in with the wash. Put it in with my sheets. Now, I work from home. That's very easy for me to do because occasionally, for example, they're thinking like the clients are breathing on your clothes, but I do rest. Sometimes I lean. My clothes will occasionally touch a client, and so that's something that we should be considering. What ways can we best serve our clients to protect them? So that's my video, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.